going to be a great show. We're going to be talking about the 5 things that women want to know about them. 5 things that women want men to know about them. So if you were tuned in last week, it was all about what the men from the male point of view. Huh?
And y'all still take over. You said it was mainly for the ladies, so y'all had last week.
Actually, when we talk about both genders, we both benefit. So it's not that one benefits from the other. We both benefit. So if you're telling us something that we need to know about you guys, that's just going to benefit our relationship. And tonight we're going to talk about 5 things that women want the men to know from my perspective. And that's so I am a woman. So I am going to be talking to you guys about that.
He's so hidden. Oh, okay. Stop. Okay, yeah, and as Cheryl alluded to, as usual, you can join this conversation, please. We need someone to be a great mediator before Cheryl jumps into the first topic of what women want to know about men. Just realize that I'm sorry, it's Freudian. So, the first thing that she wants us to know about them, what women want to know, what men to know about.
You just jacked it up all.
I'm just all over the place, ain't I?
Yes, you are.
So let me digress.
Yes, please.
Facebook.com/the Couples Motivators. We're about to get into the first of the 5 major points, and without further ado, the floor is open as usual to Cheryl Clarke.
So it's not as usual. This is just my time. Last week you had your time. So anyway, so the first thing women want you to know about us is that it's in a relationship. Now this is coming from someone that if you're in a relationship, long-term relationship, if you think about, you should get your pen and paper out if you don't already have it. You should make sure that you understand that women don't want to marry boys. So you need to divorce your mother and not be a mama's boy. I'm not saying completely divorce your mother, but we don't want mama boys. Meaning that if you come in there and we're second and we're not first, then you're not willing to put that.
But then the men come out of their mother? So how's that related?
Did you put your mom before me?
No, I'm just relating to the people.
And then you're being a devil advocate right now. But my whole point is, why be a devil advocate and say what you did? Did you or did you not put me before your mom?
Yes.
Okay. So, and because like Greg always talks about when we talk about the Bible, is that when a man finds a woman, he finds a good thing. And you're supposed to cleave from your parents to your wife. So that means that wife should be somewhat the one that's first, not second. And I can say in our relationship with my mother-in-law she did not feel that I was the right one for my husband. She felt that he could have done better. She felt like I just wasn't her pick. She had women picked out for my husband. And he was not they wasn't his pick. So what happens is that he had to set boundaries, and it's very much so needful in a relationship, especially when you have a domineering mother-in-law, or if you have a son that doesn't want the mother to not feelings to be heard or anything in that manner. However, you don't have to hurt your mom's feelings, but you also in the interim need to understand that your wife should come first before your mom. And people don't like to hear that, but we are to respect our parents. My mother lives with us, but my mother doesn't come in between our relationship. My mother um, does not weigh in on our arguments or our agreements. And if she does, it's if it's only solicited by one of us. You have something to say?
Well, one of the things I would stress, like how my wife just stated about the very first point, a major point that a woman would want their man to know or men to know about them. One of the things that we have to understand, that woman has to come, as we're going biblical, even though we're not basing it from a religious standpoint. But a lot of times I hear people talk about, I'm a Proverbs 31 woman and all this stuff. And now when you start listing all those stuffs that's in that particular book and chapter about what a Proverbs 31 woman is, a lot of women these days can't reach that level. I'm just being real. If you feel that I'm being disparate, then you can call another number at 347-996-3160. But one of the things that I can say is, as Cheryl alluded to, if you find that missing rib, if you find, and it goes back to even last week when I said, once you find a partner, someone that you're willing to defend, and I'm not saying defend that they're doing something wrong, but defend the fact of just understanding, like there were times, as Cheryl was sharing in her part about the first point, that she thought that I was being sometimes a little bit too aggressive when I was dealing with my own mother. And it wasn't even from the standpoint of saying that I was attempting to be disrespectful, or I forgot, who came first, or if it wasn't for that passage, that I would not be here. It just became to a point where certain things had to be established and structured. And it's up to that male, especially if, as Cheryl said, if you're dealing with a dominant female, which my mother was, a very dominant female, alpha female, wanted her own way, wanted to do things in a particular manner. And now I'm dealing with my wife, who's coming in, who has her own structure and her own tenets and things. There was clash beyond clash beyond clash. I mean, I was getting it from both sides, from me correcting certain things to hearing it from the other side, and things being changed up after Cheryl set it up, and then I have to go back, and it was just a mess. And then after a while, it had to be established that, look, there's only one queen in the castle. Even when you look at with say monarchies, or even those who ascribe to the Catholicism with the Roman Catholic Church, we just had a situation where we had a pope who did not die, but he stepped down because he felt he didn't want to continue to hold that office. And that was the first time in that history. Whereas now, even that pope who stepped down, even though they consider him emeritus, he stepped down, and he still has to submit himself under the reigning pope at that particular time. So I liken it with the same way when you look at, even if you have a mother in the home, or even in some African cultures where, you can have the queen mother there, but the queen mother understands she's the queen mother. She's not the queen. Queen mother and queen are two different things. So one of the things that you have to always establish in the standpoint of things going on in your life is that make sure that you put your woman first, because believe you me, there's certain things your woman can do that your mom can't do. Let's just keep it real. Now, unless you're in some weird type of family dynamic, which we will not go into here, then that's another issue for another day. But if you're just dealing with established order, once a man finds that person that he's ready to build his life with, you cannot put your wife second if you're going to change her name just to behold your mother, who's already had her time to reign.
Yes, absolutely. So that's